Thanks so much for coming. Thanks again for being early. That's fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and let's do some introductions to start. Let's go. I'm going to get up a couple of links as well. First things first, this is Dr. Stewart. She is our head of school, likened to a superintendent in a local school district. I'm going to put in a short welcome video from her. I'll put a few videos in chat, or they'll be in the email that you were sent, and you've got those there for you. So go ahead and click on that. You can bring that up later, but that's a short welcome video from her. I'm also going to put up the website link. There are a couple of places to come into school. This is our actual website, the OHVA website. So there's several other things there as well, so really helpful. So I want to get next to our purpose statement, and it is about our approach, which is student-centric. It's all about our students, and it's innovative. We think online school in itself is very innovative, but we're always trying to stay on top of our processes and our systems to be sure that we're giving you the best education possible. And our people are passionate and engaged. We hope that our staff emails, our teacher emails, and correspondence really relays that to you. And our students are learning coaches. You guys are inspired, you're empowered, and you're educated. And we're just so happy to be a part of your educational journey. I want to talk about Dr. Debbie Watring. She is our K through 2 principal. She may have already sent you an email, but she is there to help as well. So I want to talk then about Ames Web testing. This is a test for kindergarten, first, and second graders as they come into the school in order to gauge their ability. We then place them in the curriculum based off of these results. So it's very important to get this done within the first week or two of school. If you've received the email from your teacher, please go ahead and respond to that. It's that one-on-one test online. So it's very helpful for us and for you guys as well. So please respond to that email as soon as possible. For that test and for online school, the computer from the school has come equipped with the speakers, the webcam, and the microphone. Those are all built into the computer already, so those are helpful. If you're unsure of how to work any of those, this is the number for tech support right here. They also would have sent you a headset. Sometimes the kids don't like to wear it, and that's okay. Just know that it's all equipped on the computer. Tech support number if you have any trouble running any of those things. So quick quiz, let's just double check. Have you set up a personal workspace yet for your student? Green check mark if you have, red X if you've not yet, and that's okay. We would just suggest within this first week or so, you've got that set up somewhere that they know they can go each day to learn, and that's their dedicated space. This one I have much envy over. It's very clean, very bright. I like it a lot. Mine's not quite that great, but whatever works for your home and your family is perfect. And now we're going to look at things from the student side and from the learning coach side. So first things first, let's get started with the student side. So the role of the student is to engage in learning each day. It's that simple. That's all we ask of them, is to come to school every day, ready to learn, ready to go. And then we'll take the rest. We'll do that. They have to log in every day through their student account in order to complete work. If they're logged in through the Learning Coach account, it won't actually register that they're in there and that they're completing the things that they need to. They're going to actively participate in all Class Connect sessions. Like you did the check marks, you've typed in chat, that lets us know that you're here. If the system recognizes that you haven't been active for a certain period of time, it will bump you out of the system. So that's important to know. The teachers will also have what they may call a wake-up room, where if they see that the student is not interacting, they'll move them in there to try to troubleshoot and then move them back into the other room when they've interacted. If they still haven't interacted in that room, they may bump them from the class. And then submit assignments on or before the due date. We'll walk through what that looks like, but just know that that is needed for each day. And students should know how to find, how to send, and how to return their emails. So first day of school, hopefully we can check off a few things here. Hopefully you've already logged into the online school. Don't forget you have to log in through the student account for the student to complete work. And then attending orientation, if you stay for today's whole session, we can mark this one off, so that's great. And then hopefully you've already found this on the daily plan, but we'll walk through what that looks like. Students need to complete at least one math and one ELA lesson each day. So that lets the system know that they are a student at Ohio Virtual Academy, and then we'll send the release that you signed upon enrollment to the previous school to request records if that's applicable. And then completing the online learning course, that's something that I will walk through at the very end of our program today, but just know that there are 4 lessons in that course, and then there's a short quiz of 5 points that needs to be taken and mastered at 100% in order for that course to be completed, okay? And then Learning Coach must log accurate attendance. We'll walk through that in the Learning Coach side, but just know that that is a necessity as well. All right, so quick poll. I don't think I lost you at this point, but students should log into the online school each day through the student account. Is that true or is that false? True with a green check mark, false with a red X. Yep, you guys got it. Very good. All right, so again, the website I'll put in chat. That's right here. Again, that's our school website. You'll see this button at the top right-hand corner of other screens as well. If you come in through the K-12 website, things like that. But here, that's our school website. Top right-hand corner is the OLS, Online Learning System login. And this is the screen that you'll come to. This is the same screen that the Learning Coach sees also. So just make sure that you're using the student username and password when the student is coming to complete work. And then you would click Login. And then this is the home page. So this should say Welcome and the student's name here. If you toggle in between any of these and need to get back to the home, you just click that home button there. This shows the courses down here. And just know that language arts is the priority for each day, then math. So there's 5 pieces to language arts. You may show a 6th on your screen as well. And then there's 1, maybe 2 for math. So 1 lesson in each of these each day. Okay? And then the science, the social studies, the arts, and the music are secondary. All right, we'll walk through that in a moment, but just know that the language arts and the math are the priority for kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd graders. So let's walk next into this plan tab. I want to show you the daily plan, and that's really where the students are going to camp out each day. So let's take a look at that. Again, welcome and the student's name up here. If the Learning Coach name appears anywhere on this screen, that means that you're most likely logged in through the Learning Coach account, and you need to make sure that you're logged in through the student account before they complete work. So viewed by the daily plan or the weekly plan, you have the option to print the daily plan. It's showing the day's date up here and the date that you're viewing here. You can toggle in between dates using these arrows or select a date right here. You can show the Class Connect sessions right here. That's probably how you came into today's session, so you know where that's at. And then just below that, you'll see the daily plan. So these are the lessons on the docket for that day. If you click on the first line here, that's the actual course. If you click on the second line, that's the lesson that you're after for that day. So it'll take you directly there. So then you don't have to navigate through the course. I'm going to navigate through the course with you today just so we have an understanding of that. And then keep in mind, you can print this if you like to check things off. Here's how the system checks things off. So if it's an open circle like that, it means it's not yet been opened or started. If you see a check mark here, that means it's completed or mastered. This half circle means it's completed but not mastered, so that would be one that you would need to review with your student and then redo. And then a couple of other icons here that you may see. These are the three most typical though, okay? So let's dive in a little bit deeper and take a look at what one of these courses looks like. So we're actually going to click on this top line here to go into the course. So it shows the unit list over to the left. These couple of arrows right here indicate that this is the current unit. And then the lessons are shown on this side. This handy visual here is very helpful in displaying the actual percentage of their progress. We're going to talk through that in a minute also, but know that that's at the top of each course, okay? So that 3% corresponds to about 6 lessons here. Not completed is 96%. That's what you'll see when you first start out, 174 lessons. So this number will go down and this number will go up as we go through the year. And then this skip tab here is one that you'd want to just check. Make sure your student isn't skipping over lessons if they're not supposed to. But let's go into this Printing Power 2 lesson right here. Again, that was linked from the main page, but we're diving into the course here. So let's link to that right now. So this lesson 2, Printing Power 2 lesson, shows the instructions here. It says in this lesson, about 10 minutes long, students will practice their handwriting using the supplied Handwriting Without Tears materials. So just real quick, I want to make sure you're aware this Handwriting Without Tears material is no longer called that. It's just the handwriting book. I've heard that it's yellow, but anywhere you see that Handwriting Without Tears, just know that it's the handwriting booklet, okay? And then you'll gather the materials listed, have students complete as many workbook pages as they can in 10 minutes. If they were working in a previous lesson, they'd pick up where they left off. And then if they're working for a solid 10 minutes doing good work there, then you can go to the next screen and mark that lesson as complete. If you need additional lined writing paper, you can print that out using the school printer that you were sent. And then this is the arrow to go to the next page. So that's a lesson in a nutshell. Let's go back to the main screen and click on this Progress tab right here and just talk about progress for a minute. So expected progress is about 2 to 3% per week in each subject. Okay, remember that we have math and ELA as the priorities, so they would complete one math lesson and one lesson in the vocabulary, in the writing, in the spelling, in the handwriting, and the phonics each day as a minimum requirement, okay? That would add up to about 10 to 12% progress per month. And you see this down here. Remember, this 3% corresponded to about 6 lessons. So that makes sense. If they do 1 per day, that lands you at 5 at the end of the week, maybe 6 if they've done more. And then that equals out to that 2 to 3% progress. If expected progress is not maintained, if you don't feel like your student's catching on like they should be, make sure to reach out to the teacher. They'll make sure they've got the correct information and that your student is in where they should be, okay? And as we talked about, ELA is the priority for each day. Math comes right after that one. The Ohio Department of Education does not actually have requirements for kindergarten through 2nd grade in science, social studies, art, or music. If you're feeling adventurous, you can find the option to hide those courses through the Learning Coach account. And once they get the hang of doing the ELA and math every day, then you can open those back up and address those with your student. Those subjects are available in grades 3 through 5 with applicable content, so I don't want you to feel like the student is missing out on those courses throughout their whole elementary school career. Those are addressed later. All right, and then the inbox. We talked about the student needing to be able to find their inbox, send a message, return a message, create a message, things like that. So let's check into that. Right here from that widget, you can go directly to the inbox. You can create a new message or contact my teachers right from there. Email is the main source of communication in the online school, so it's important to keep an organized inbox. You can do that by creating folders. You can name them by teacher or by subject, whatever works best for your organizational system. but just know that you could just click on this plus sign, rename a folder, and have it as you need it. This is a sample of the inbox. You'll see this blue bar here means it's not yet been read. The email can be deleted or archived. Archives just keeps them longer. And as a learning coach, you get copied on every email the student sends or receives so that you are in the loop as well. All right, so if we could just get a green check mark letting me know that you understand everything from the student side, we can go ahead and move on to the learning coach side. Just let me know if that all clicked with you. Green check, red X. Perfect. Okay, very good. Thank you. So let's go ahead and move on. This picture right here just makes me giggle every time I see it. So hopefully that's brought a little joy to your morning as well. So the role of the learning coach in Ohio Virtual Academy is essential for the success of the student. We've taken a public school, we've put it in the box complete with teachers and your materials, and we've sent it to your home. You are the eye in the sky. So you guys are the ones in the home actually doing the work with your child, instructing them as needed, things like that. So your role is very, very vital to their success here. So every day you're going to log in as the learning coach. You're going to check the emails and return them as needed. You'll receive a newsletter from your teacher, making sure that you know where to go each week, what's expected, things like that. So that's helpful as well. You're going to oversee the completion of the daily plan. You may need to instruct your student through a lesson or to make sure they understand what they're supposed to do. We're not completing work for our students, but they do need us to make sure that they understand what to do and where to do it. And then making sure that they are participating in all Class Connect sessions. So just like you've given me check marks and you typed in chat, that also is the child's role as well. And then they're going to scan in and upload work samples as completed. I'll walk through what this looks like for the learning coach, but just know that that will need to be completed each day. And then they'll record and save attendance. We're actually going to start with attendance. That's a big one we want to make sure that we have a real good understanding of first off. So again, OLS login, I'll put that website in chat again. So that's there. Top right hand corner, you'll see that red button. It brings you to this screen and you're saying, hey, that looks familiar, because that's exactly where we came to log in to the student account. So we'll click in username and password for the learning coach and then log in. So this is a snippet of what the learning coach account looks like. We'll actually review the whole thing in a few minutes, but let's start with attendance here. When you click into that tab, this is where it brings you. If you have multiple students in Ohio Virtual Academy, you could toggle in between them here. It should show the student's name that you're working with here. Total missing days for all of your students would be here. Missing days for this student would be here. It'll show you the actual date and you can click to it. Otherwise, it will automatically pop up to the first missing day of attendance so that it prompts you to enter that first before moving on. You can toggle in between days here using these arrows, or you can select the date here. And then you would click on this box here and you'd enter the exact time that your student spent in school. So what can be included in that? The Class Connect sessions, the online lessons or online learning platforms like Schoolology and Raz-Kids, things like that. Any of their workbook pages that they're completing offline. Any flashcards, any reading, anything that they're doing related to their course can be counted for attendance, okay? So just know that we suggest that you keep a notebook beside the computer. That helps you be able to write down if they started math at 10:15, they wrapped up the Math Class Connect at 10:45, and then they spent another 30 minutes on the lesson. That will allow you to just kind of keep it all in one place. And then at the end of the day, you can come in and enter accurate attendance for them rather than kind of winging it or guessing at it. If the student did not work in a particular course, you'd enter a 0. If they didn't enter or didn't log in that day at all or do any work, you go to the auto enter and that will fill the whole day with the zeros. So if Monday you were still working through tech issues, things like that, you can just come into Monday's attendance and enter 0 for that. And then you would click save, and that saves it all for the day. You can't go back and change it, so just make sure it's accurate and it's entered properly, okay? So let's look at this right here, this typical time for lesson completion. My kids are not typical, your kids are not typical either, so we're going to really just kind of use that as a manufacturer's suggested retail. We're not going to think of that as the Bible. This is just kind of a guideline, okay? So when you click into this box here, it's going to automatically populate that time in minutes. So you're going to need to make sure that you're entering the accurate time that the student has actually spent from that notebook like we talked about. If you use typical time for each course, what it does is shows that the student was in school for about 9 hours. We know that that's not realistic. That's not what we ask of our students or our families. So this typical time is just not realistic. It's either going to oversell or undersell your student's time in the system. So a good way to kind of keep on task of how many hours they should have to make sure your student is doing what they need to do is to look at this number right here. So total days in school, we're going to multiply that by 5, and we'll talk about that 5 number in just a minute, but that gives you 90 hours. And then you would look at this time here, the totals to date, and you see that this student is well short of that 90 hours. That's where those red flags start to get raised in the system, and we go, whoa, something's not going right. So maybe either your student is not schooling every day, or they're rushing through their items, they're not entering every course each day, the ELA and the math. Maybe it's that they're just doing it really fast and you need to instruct them to slow down and take their time on things. Or maybe the learning coach doesn't understand all of the material that can be entered under attendance. So again, that's for the Class Connect sessions, the online lessons, the online learning platforms, so Schoolology, Raz-Kids, or offline time. So in their workbooks, in their flashcards, doing reading, things like that. So that can all be entered. It just kind of gives you an idea of where your student falls in relation to what's expected. Okay? So making sure that you are having your student make up any missed work to get to that expected time will be helpful. All right, so daily time commitment. Part-time kindergartners are going to spend about 3 hours in school. Learning coaches are going to spend about that same amount of time teaching their student, or guiding them as they need to. In full-time kindergarten and first and second grade, that expectation is about 5.5 hours for students and about 5 hours for learning coaches. At first, you're going to spend more time in the system, getting familiar with it, learning all of what it entails. As the day goes on, as the weeks go on, it's going to get a lot easier. So know that we're here to help you before it starts to become second nature to answer any questions that you have, okay? The student and learning coach must be extremely dedicated to their schooling. It does take time, commitment, and energy in order to be effective in the online school. Just like you would send your child to school on the bus each day at a local school, it is the priority for each day. Even though it's in your home, it does need to be that routine going through. So thinking about it, 1 or 2 days a week doesn't seem like much. If you miss that time, so if you miss a day every 2 weeks or a half a day every week, it adds up to about 20 days or 4 weeks out of the school year. That's totaling out to nearly 1.5 years out of their entire education. To the extreme end of it, if they miss 3 days per week, if you're like, we can get this done in 2 days, no problem, it equals out to 120 days or 24 weeks out of the year that they've missed. If they continue that through their school career, that's nearly 8 years that they've missed, like 2/3 of their education. So we can't expect that our students are going to know what they need to know if they're missing that much time. So you're thinking, gosh, I'm never going to miss 3 days a week, not even worried about it. Thinking about minutes, if you just go to 10 minutes a day, if you're like, we're going to cut out early, that adds up to 50 minutes a week, nearly a week and a half for the whole year, nearly a half year total for their whole career. If you miss out on an hour per day, if it's coming easy, if you're, plugged away at it, And that adds up to a day per week or 8 weeks per year. That adds up to over 2.5 years that they would have missed out of their 13-year career. So we know that you want your student to be successful. We want your student to be successful also. Attendance does matter, and that daily routine does matter. You're going to pat yourselves on the back in a couple of weeks when you got that routine down from the beginning and you know what's going on, because that's just going to come as second nature. So attendance guidelines. State of Ohio mandates that we have students in school for at least 5 hours. It's just a little over 5. So we say between 5 and 6 hours per day. That's the state of Ohio minimum. Part-time kindergartners is 3 hours. The hours that you're expected to log are based on your enrollment date. For the entire school year, it's 920 hours. It's prorated for you guys because you started a bit later. But just know that that breaks down to about 100 hours per month. That works out to about 25 hours per week, and then breaks down to that 5 hours per day. So it all adds up, and it actually adds up pretty quickly. Failure to meet attendance standards does result in truancy, just like in a local school district. We have truancy requirements here as well. So again, students must log in for at least 5.5 hours per school day. The learning coach must log accurate attendance every single day. That lets us know what the student's doing online and offline, since we can't see in your home to know what your student's doing. And if no learning took place in that day, remember, just enter a 0 for attendance and click save. Make sure you make up any missed work. Watch all the Class Connect recordings as soon as possible. Students must log in every day. They attend their live Class Connects and they'll work in each online course. If they don't have Class Connects that day, that's okay. They're still going to come to school and they're going to complete the work that's on their daily plan. And again, if the student's not able to log into the online school, make sure to let the teacher know. Let them know why your student's going to be absent, when you expect them to be back, and that you'll watch all missed materials and complete everything that was missed shortly. We complete weekly attendance sweeps, so anyone behind in attendance will be contacted by phone or by email. Failure to log in 5 days in a row or log attendance for that time results in a warning. After 10 days of no attendance or no login, the truancy officer will actually be in contact with you. We also work through a monthly attendance audit. That makes sure that the time that you've entered jives with the online time that we can see in the system, as well as those work samples that you've submitted. So we are sure that it's just a whole picture and that it's in compliance with the state guidelines. So this is the full view of the Learning Coach account. So we talked through the attendance just now. You'll see the My Schedule, My Students section. If you need to switch in between students at OHDA, you can do that here. Learning Coach name will show here. Remember, if the Learning Coach name shows anywhere on the screen or the screen prior, that you're logged in through the Learning Coach account and need to actually be in through the student account for them to complete work. You can view here also by the day or by the week. You can toggle in between days here or select a date here. This shows the course and the lesson, the due date, and their progress. So again, we see this progress key. That open circle means it's not yet been started. The check mark means it's completed. Half circle is not mastered but complete. And that open file folder means that it's been opened but it's not yet been finished. Calendar event means it's just not something that needs to be turned in. You'll see the skipped assignment here and then maybe the NA if it's not available for that course. Class Connect sessions are here. Not all of the Class Connects will show up in the Learning Coach side. They will all show up through the student side. So just make sure you're kind of checking both spots. Announcements here. These are school-wide announcements. I suggest checking those about once a week, making sure you're up on everything and can get plugged in there. Re-registration for fall. This isn't anything you need to worry about yet. That'll come in February, but just know that that's where to find it. So let's actually click into the first class that we see here, this Math Plus Blue appendix. We're going to be looking for the Use Direction Words assignment. So student's name here, you'll see Learning Coach name up here. And Make sure again that the learning coach name doesn't appear anywhere on the screen, okay? Students' courses will show here. And then this line right here, these arrows, just show you the current unit, and these arrows here show you the current lesson. So this is showing the lesson list. Lesson 1.1 is actually already completed. Lesson 1.2 is showing as not completed. We're going to walk into the materials tab in just a moment, but I want you to know advanced prep is just kind of planning for the next day. Objectives let you know what the student should be able to complete by the end of the lesson. So let's go ahead and jump into the materials section. This again shows 1.1 as complete. Lesson 1.2 is the one we're after, shows as not complete. You'll see here the actual activity book. That gives you an idea of what it looks like, but you can use the actual workbook that you were sent. And then the materials needed down here. Learning Coach Guide over here. We'll walk through that, but let's first walk into this one. And I want to show you the alert that will pop up that lets you know you're actually in the Learning Coach account and you need to log out of the Learning Coach and log in as the student. So let's take a look at that. There's that alert. So for this example, I'm going to use change to student. That just lets us kind of ghost into the account. You can't make any ripples. You can't knock down any walls. You can't complete any assignments that are going to maybe register on the other end. So just make sure if you see this alert that you go in, you log out of the Learning Coach account and log back into the student account, okay? So for this example, we'll use change to student. And the use direction words right here. So this is the one that we were looking for from that main screen. Again, you can also click directly to the lesson from that daily plan, and it'll bring you right here. You see this is page 1 of 2. On the second page has the items that need to be cut out and colored. You can print it here. So if you don't have your workbook with you, you can print it. Student would put their name here. And then they'd complete this workbook page. So they'd cut out each picture on the dotted line. They'll glue the trees to the left, the flowers to the right, the bench behind, and the duck in front. So that's the use direction words worksheet in a nutshell. And then let's look at this Learning Coach guide. It's kind of a lesson plan. Let's see what that looks like. So again, the title of the lesson is up here. The lesson overview is here. The time is here. So there may be expected time or a time guideline, whether it's an online or an offline item, the materials to gather, and the lesson objectives. So that shows you all that in a nutshell. So uploading work samples, I want to make sure that I am providing you guys with a help sheet also. So this will be in the chat as well, or in the email that you were sent. You'll find that there. So if you have any problems, that's a good help spot to go. Work samples need to be uploaded through the student account. It needs to be uploaded daily. I had a family ask if they could just upload it all to one document and then upload that document at the end of the day. I think that's just fine. I think the teachers would appreciate that. And then teachers may accept other methods of submission as well. Whatever your teacher says is what you can do. If they say, hey, email it in instead, do that. But we're going to show you how to do it this way. So welcome and the student's name. Again, you'll find the file sharing button just to the right of that. When you click that file sharing, it comes into this screen. You can access it from other places, but you can only upload it from the student account. You can create folders in here, whether you choose to organize it by day or by course. That'll be all right here. And then you click upload. You can scan in the item from the school printer, or you can maybe take a photo of it with your phone as long as it's clear, and USB the cable into the computer so you can pull it from there. I had to actually have tech support help me know how to scan in because it wasn't included on my desktop. So if you need to call tech support, that number will be provided later as well. I'll put it in the chat so you have it. And then that's all set for uploading work samples. That again just helps us as the teacher in a local school district would be walking around checking your students' work, guiding them as needed or praising them as they see they've done a good job, that allows us to do the same. So if we see that they're forming their letters differently than they need to, we can help correct that before it becomes a habit for them. Things like math processes, things like that, that just help us be able to point out anything that we see that's great or to help correct anything that we see as needing help. So Class Connect sessions in the elementary school are for math and language arts. The sessions are labeled as required for reading, writing, and math, and those are recorded. You may also see 7 Mindsets or Literacy Day assembly on the schedule as well. We do understand that there are occasional conflicts, doctor's appointments that can't be changed, family emergency, things like that. So if you must miss a required session, make sure to inform your teacher. Let them know that you'll watch the recording and make up any missed work as soon as possible. Here's how to find a Class Connect recording. So we're in the student account, we're in the daily plan, and then right here is the course that you should have been able to come in through. So you would just click that link, it'll open up another window that shows you this recording link here. If you click that, it brings you right in just like it did to come to today's session. All right, so I want to give you just a chance to play around in Class Connect for a minute. This is another way that we ask students to interact in the Class Connect platform. So you can take the box here, the icon, the pen or highlighter. There's a text box and there's shapes and line tools. So go ahead and take a second to play around with that. And we'll see what that looks like. There's the highlighter tool, so that's fun. It reminds me of like the paintbrush tool on the computer. That was always a lot of fun when I was a kid. There you go. Yep, you found it. Perfect. And what they may do is they may say, give me an icon when you come into the room, whether you're having a good day or whether you're having a not so good day. Or maybe they'll have answer A over here and answer B over here. So just another way that we can interact with the students. And what they would say is, I will close the whiteboard in 3, 2, 1. And then that closes the whiteboard. And then, we had to use erasers and water to clear off our boards. This one just comes off in the click of a button. So it's a lot of fun. So yeah, one way to explore. So let's just double check Class Connects. Can you just let me know if your Class Connect showed up with a green check mark? Let me know if it showed up at 9 a.m. like it was supposed to. If it showed up at any other time, will you type that in chat? Okay, perfect. Very good. Very, very good. So I will include a time zone corrector article. So if you have any questions on that, if it ever goes back out, you're not sure what happened, that article may be helpful. So very good. Looks like you are in good shape. So Ohio Virtual Academy's handbook is quite lengthy. We have sent it to you. You don't need to let us know that you read it, but you are responsible for the items contained inside. There are a few that I want to review. Just to make sure we're on the same page with it. And I've put the handbook in chat as well. So the Learning Coach will maintain continuous home internet service. Without home internet, online school doesn't work, right? You can't get in without having internet. You can't get to school if you don't have a way to get to school. So you must maintain continuous home internet service. Also have a backup for that. So we know internet can be spotty at times. You just need to have a backup. So going to the library, going to another office, going to McDonald's. I like to go and make an excuse to grab a Coke, so that works too. Whatever works for you is making sure that you have access to come to school each day. Now we do reimburse for internet. I've actually put that website in chat. That's one that I'd love for you to bookmark so that you can come in December and in May, and you'll actually get emails about it, but it'll allow you to submit your bills. So save August, September, October, November, December, submit those in December, then save your January, February, March, April, May. You can submit those in May, okay? So that just is something we'd like to offer, knowing that families have to have internet to come to online school. We'd like to reimburse for that. And then understanding that the Ohio Virtual Academy program includes the K-12 curriculum, periodic assessments, Class Connects, and other instructional tools specific to my students' academic requirements. I understand that students are required to attend and participate in live Class Connect sessions. And it does say in the handbook that our school day is from 8 to 4, so that's when we expect your student will be logged in. As learning coach, I will actively supervise my student while participating in the Ohio Virtual Academy program. Learning coach guidance is essential for students in the K-8 program, also very needed in the high school as well. All right, and testing. Because we're a state of Ohio public school, we are still responsible for the achievement and diagnostic testing through the state. It is the responsibility of the learning coach to provide transportation to and from any face-to-face test that's scheduled. There may be online tests as well. Those dates are determined by the Ohio Department of Education. We talked about that Ames web test first off. That needs to happen within the first 30 days of school. We suggest the first week or two at the latest, because that's how we place the kids in the curriculum. So make sure you're responding to that email from the teacher and that you've gotten that scheduled. So the online learning course, this is where I want to take us next. So at the top of your screen, you can actually minimize this window so that you can go into the school and find this learning course. And then at the bottom of the screen, you'd see this purple circle with the white arrows in it. That's how you'll come back into class and give me the check mark. So if you can take a second, I just want to make sure you know how to find this course. Can you go ahead and navigate into the student account on the daily plan and scroll down until you see this online learning course, and then come back and give me a green check mark. And if you're having any trouble with that, type it in chat. We'll try to troubleshoot it. Very good. Excellent. Thank you so much. Now, when you click into that course, this is what you'll see. You'll see those 4 lessons right there, and then you'll see that quiz right there. That quiz has 999 opportunities to take it, so they'll need to make sure that they are retaking that until they get 100%. So all 5 of those questions correct, and then that will consider the course as completed or mastered. Okay, so that's an easy way to find that one. Let's go ahead and go to our main office number. So this is one I'd like for you to write down. If you've got a sticky note beside your computer or something, you can capture that. That's on all of our emails also, so that's the main number. Make sure to write down extensions as the teacher sends you an email, just so you know who's who and how to get a hold of them. Here's the tech support number again. And always make sure that you're saving the ticket number. If they can't help you there and we need to escalate it on our end, we have to have that ticket number to do so. So just make sure that you've got that when you get off the phone with them. And then my email address is here. I'll always loop in your advocate. They'll be with you throughout your school here at OHVA. But I'll always answer your questions. As many times as you need to ask it, as many questions as you have, we're here to help you. And then here's our school website again. There's student club info, calendar, face-to-face events, things like that. And I want to show you some of the activities. This is our local calendar. I'm going to put a link to that calendar in the chat. And this is just an example of some of the things that we offer. That calendar will have everything on it. In some areas, they've got bowling every other week, or picnics, things like that. We have missed the Meet Your Teacher events and the back to school picnics, but that's okay. Those events will happen throughout the year in your area also. All right, so that calendar link is there. And I also want to give you the link for the clubs. So clubs and organizations will be there as well. All right, so thank you for coming. I'm so glad that you came. I'm so glad that you made it. I appreciate it. I hope you have all the information that you need, but of course, reach out if you have any questions at all. If you'd like to stay around, you're welcome to do so. We'll answer any questions that you have.